May Allah make our reward and your reward great, for our grief for Hussein, peace be on him. May He place us and you from those who help his cause with his representative, the guided Imam from the family of Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is how we should greet each other today. Today is a tragic day, the day of Ashura, the day of 10th Muharram. We should also recite, O Allah, condemn and lay curse upon the killers of Hussein alayhi salam, his family and friends. It is also recommended to recite Surah Ikhlas about 1,000 times. However, you can recite it as many times as you can. It is not advised to fast today. However, you should avoid food and drink until about midday. Now today's activity and challenge is very different. I would just like you to spend your time today remembering Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family and the events that took place in Karbala. For today's story, I'm not going to use the storybook because the story of today is a story that's engraved in our hearts today and for many years to come. So I would like you to close your eyes and imagine that you are here on the sands in Karbala. You can feel the scorching heat from the sun. You are hungry and you are thirsty. Please try and listen carefully and let some tears shed from your eyes, today especially. Throughout the night, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his companions and his friends spent the night in prayer. They recited the Quran and they made dua to Allah for their sacrifice to be accepted by Allah. In the morning, Imam Hussein alayhi salam asked his son Ali Akbar to recite the adhan. The family and friends of Imam Hussein alayhi salam prayed for Fajr Salah and prayed to Allah to accept their sacrifice. After Fajr Salah, Imam Hussein alayhi salam went to the battlefield to give Umar Saad and Yazid's army one more chance. He told them that he is the grandson of the Prophet and that they can talk rather than have this battle. However, Umar Saad was not interested and the first arrow was shot, and the sound of the trumpets to mark the start of the battle was heard. So the battle began, and as we've heard, the companions and the friends of Imam Hussein alayhi salam gallantly went to the battlefield one by one and fought their way for Islam. We heard over the last few days about Hur, Habib ibn Mazahir, and John. All of them were martyred in the way of Islam. Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Hazrat Abbas would go to the battlefield and bring back the bodies to the tents. By now, then, it was the time for Dhuhr. They prayed their Dhuhr Salah, but as you can see, the battle continued, so they had guards around them to help protect them while they prayed their Salah. After this prayer, it was time for the family members of Imam Hussein alayhi salam to go to the battlefield. And again we heard over the last few days about Hazrat Qasim, the son of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, going to the battlefield and fighting gallantly. Also about Orn and Muhammad, the sons of Bibi Zainab, the nephews of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, also fighting their way in the battle. After that, Hazrat Abbas could not stand any longer, and he asked for permission to go and get water for the thirsty children who were crying Alatash, Alatash. He managed to get the water in his mushk. However, the cruel people did not let him make his way back to the tent, and they cut both of his arms and pierced his mushk before he fell to the ground. Then after that, Ali Akbar, the teenage son of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, also went to the battlefield, and the cruel people aimed a spear into his heart, and he too was martyred in the way of Islam. After this, Imam Hussein alayhi salam cried out, "Is there anyone to help me?" Is there anyone who can come and join me? However, the only sound that was heard was the ladies crying. So he ran to the tent to find out what had happened. And it seems that baby Ali Asghar had thrown himself out of his little cradle, for he too wanted to be a martyr for Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Islam. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam thought, let me try and take this little baby to see if he can get some water. He took Ali Asghar to the battlefield and he asked the cruel people to please just give him a little bit of water. However, they were so cruel, they didn't give him any water, and all they gave him was a sharp, three-pointed spear arrow which hit him in his neck, and he died. Imam Hussein alayhi salam had then the most difficult task to take him back to his mother. He walked back and forth from the tents 7 times, saying Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and then dug a grave for his little baby, and the only water he had to put on the grave was the tears from his eyes. Now, the only people that were left were the ladies and Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam went to say goodbye to the Imam said, now it's time for me to go. Let me go for jihad, father. However, Imam Hussein alayhi salam knew that Imam Zain al-Abidin was unwell, and he said that you cannot go, and it is you who has to be with the ladies and the children. You have a more important journey now. Then Imam Hussein alayhi salam bid farewell to his sister Zainab. He got up onto his horse, and he said to his horse to take him to the battlefield. However, the horse did not move. Imam Hussein alayhi salam said to the horse, I know it's been a really long day for you. I know you're tired and you're thirsty, but please, I promise you, this is your last journey. Please take me to the battlefield. The horse looked down to his leg, and there was Bibi Sakina holding on to the leg of the horse. Imam Hussein alayhi salam got off his horse and spoke to Sakina. Sakina said, Baba, everybody who goes to the battlefield, they don't come back. How can I let you go? And Imam Hussein alayhi salam said that I need to go to save Islam. Bibi Sakina said, but father, I always sleep on your chest. How will I fall asleep if you are not here with me? So Imam Hussein alayhi salam let Sakina lay on his chest one last time, and he went to the battlefield. Imam Hussein fought gallantly. You could not tell that he was hungry and thirsty for 3 days. You could not tell that he had been bringing bodies back from the battlefield to the tent throughout the day. He fought so well, everybody was so proud of him. However, the cruel people started throwing arrows and stones and everything at him, and then he fell from his horse. He asked for permission to just do one last sajda. Shimr, the most evil of Yazid's men, walked to Imam Hussein. He had a big dagger in his hand. Imam made a request. "O Shimr, I know your intention. I beg of you to give me little time for just 2 sajdas." Hussein did the first sajda on a musalla of arrows. "O Allah, all praises to you and you alone." Hussein lifted his head and went down to perform his second sajda. Shimr did not let Imam Hussein lift his head from this last sajda. The earth trembled, the sky turned black. Jibreel cried out, "Hussein has been killed in Karbala. Hussein has been killed in Karbala." Bibi Zainab saw her brother's head. She cried out, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." We are from Allah, and to Him we will return. Peace be upon you, O Abu Abdullah. Now this is the end of this story. However, another story is yet to begin for the children and the women from Kufa to Sham. After Imam Hussein alayhi salam was killed, Yazid and his army entered the camps and put them on fire. Bibi Zainab had to help Imam Zain al-Abidin to come out of the tents. All the ladies and children were left in the plains of the battlefield. It was this night that they spent without the men and their family, alone on the plains of Karbala. We are your young army, O Hussein and Mehdi. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours. We are your young army, O Hussein and Mehdi. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours.
to be the best that we can be. And from your tragedy, we have learned how to live. We will always stay strong, standing up against what is wrong. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours.
We are your young army, Hussein and Mehdi. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours. We are your young army, Hussein and Mehdi. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours.
We can change this world for good. Stand for why you had stood. We will fight for the truth, being brave in our youth. We know it's our duty to prepare for Mehdi. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours.
We are your young army, Hussein and Mehdi. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours. We are your young army, Hussein and Mehdi. We are yours, we are yours, we are yours.
You have witnessed suffering, your beloved perishing. Enemies were cheering as your tents were all burning. We have learned from your patience to rely on God's wisdom.